My name is Tayba Hatimy. I am a dentist by profession, but my true calling is in social entrepreneurship. I am now a dentist turned social environpreneur. I'm the co-founder and executive director of Baus Taka enterprise. Baus Taka is a tech-integrated waste management enterprise that is on a mission to combat marine plastic pollution while creating green job opportunities for youth and women in vulnerable communities. I have had the privilege of participating in 3 US exchange programs. One is I'm a 2019 Academy for Women Entrepreneurs alumna. I am a 2021 Mandela Washington Fellow and recently a 2024 Fortune 500 US Department of State Global Women Mentoring Program. So back in during COVID time, we were having Old Town being locked down. And I realized since we're living very close to Old Town, the next community to undergo lockdown is going to be where we were living. So we decided to go to the supermarket to go purchase basic necessities. On my way there, I had a near-death experience. Somebody decided to dump heaps of waste in the middle of the road, and we almost collided with 4 other vehicles. This triggered me into action in that I wanted to learn more about who in their right mind would decide to dump waste on the road. Because upon alighting the car, I saw heaps of mixed plastic waste that was illegally dumped on the road. And I reached out to Mombasa County Department of Environment to want to learn more about the challenge, because growing up in Mombasa County, you would always see hotspots of waste that has been illegally dumped in the community, and you would have disease outbreaks like dengue fever, like chikungunya in the community that has been caused by these hotspots of illegal dumping of waste. So I knew that if I wanted to be the change, I needed to take action. So that is how Baus Taka was actually born, and I ended up registering Baus Taka in 2021 to be a social enterprise, and almost 5 years later, here we are. The Fortune 500 program was a program that gave me confidence. One of my mentors was a special advisor to a former US president. And I remember at that particular time, I was talking to her, and I told her that time and again, I felt that I did not belong in the waste management space. Being a woman in a male-dominated space, I constantly faced discrimination, stereotyping. Because it's a male-dominated space, majority of the men will tell you, why are you here? Go back home. Your space is not in the waste management space. So during that program, when I expressed my challenge to my mentor, she said something that is a takeaway for me to date, in that as a woman, your contribution matters. You belong at the decision-making table. You need to show up unapologetically. So, and when we were going through the mentorship program, she went ahead and taught me strategies to scale Baus Taka, not just in Kenya, but across across the African continent, because she was part of a campaign, former US president's team. So that particular strategy that she taught me is the same strategy that I am implementing to scale Baus Taka across the East African community, which is 8 East Africa community partner countries. So Baus Taka app, when we came up with the idea, my co-founder and I came up with the idea of Baus Taka app, we had to get to the root cause. Because if you don't get to the root problem, you won't understand the cause, and you'll just be addressing the symptoms. We wanted to address the cause, which would enable us to come up with a systems change. Did we need to come up with a systems change alone, or are we changing behaviors? Or maybe we needed to do something when it comes to policy. So Baus Taka app core concept is segregation of waste at source. As mentioned, our mission is to reduce marine plastic pollution. We realized that the mixed plastic waste ends up in the ocean, causing marine plastic pollution because it did not get segregated at source. So for Baus Taka app, we are ensuring that communities, local communities, are segregating the waste at source. We're empowering you to segregate it. We are creating economic opportunities, which is green jobs via the mobile application, in that after segregating the waste, you are able to trade your waste for a cash incentive. And every time you use the mobile app, you accumulate points, which can be redeemed for outpatient health services. So it's a win-win situation whereby you are changing the behavior in the communities to segregating the plastic waste. You are reducing marine plastic pollution. You are streamlining the waste from source all the way to recycling centers, meaning that we are increasing the recycling rate, because currently the recycling rate is only at 9%. So we need to increase the recycling rate. The plastics need to get recycled so that they don't end up causing marine plastic pollution. Baus Taka app is a disruptor. It was the first of its kind in Kenya, launched in November 2021, in that we have taught the communities that you shift your mindset from this is waste to this is a resource. And we've piloted a very successful pilot for 3 years. And here we are today, we are scaling the app across the East African community states. As a woman, I have to advocate for my fellow women's rights, especially in this male-dominated sector. I have experienced firsthand women being sidelined, women being stereotyped, women being discriminated in this sector. So part of Baus Taka's grand vision is that we want to create a circular economy model that leverages on technology across the African continent, but starting in the coast region. We are currently setting up a women wastepreneurs network that would mobilize women across the coast region to come together, share knowledge, capacity build each other, equip women with the necessary tools to scale our enterprises, formalize our enterprises, and have that negotiating power when it comes to negotiating for women's rights. So this network is going to be like a marketplace for women to create economic opportunities, of course, green jobs, ensuring that women are at the front line of the green circular economy. So that is part of the grand vision for Baus Taka. We have a lot. I have a lot to speak about, but I would narrow it down to, if you want to start a business that is both profitable and creates impact, you have to identify a real problem. How do you identify a real problem? You need to go down to the communities, see the challenges and experience the challenges that the communities are facing. So a real problem would be one where the communities feel frustration or genuine pain. So you need to interact with them to understand their challenges. You need to listen actively, and you need to ask a lot of questions for you to understand the real problem. Only then, after identifying that problem, are you able to come up with an effective solution that is actually going to create value for you and for the communities and environment. This is not the wall of fame, but the wall of inspiration to me. We have a picture here that we took at the United Nations Environment Programme headquarters in Gigiri, Nairobi, where I had the privilege to exhibit Baus Taka's Stop Plastic Pollution campaign to the US Secretary of State, the former US Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, and the UNEP Executive Director, Inga Anderson. Looking back, in 2021, within 6 months, the first embassy in Kenya that saw potential in Baus Taka's work was the US Embassy. We hosted the US Chargé at that time in 2021 with officials from the US Embassy, and within 1.5 months, I was invited to exhibit to the former US Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, and I must comment that our exhibition amplified Baus Taka's credibility and visibility. And the US Embassy and the US Department of State, they continue to empower not just me as a woman in Baus Taka, but women across the coast region and Kenya as a whole. And And as an alumni, I am grateful to the US Embassy for continuing to walk this journey with Baus Taka Enterprises. And from 2021, we were able to exhibit to His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, during the Kenya Innovation Week. We also had the privilege to exhibit to His Majesty King Charles III from United Kingdom. So we want to thank the US Embassy in Nairobi for empowering women from the coast region to have the confidence to scale our enterprises and have environmental, economic, and social impact. So empowering the communities, the local communities, is the core of what we do at Baus Taka. It's at the core of what we do at Baus Taka. Here we have a collaboration with the Interex Club of Oshual Academy in Mombasa, where we collaborated with the club for a beach cleanup. And here is us empowering young girls from the Girl Guides Association on responsible and sustainable waste management practices. As you can see, we're actually using a mascot to engage them and ensure that they understand and have a fun way of interacting and learning more about sustainable waste management, about the app, and how they can contribute to taking community climate action. So right now what you're seeing is about 620 kgs of marine litter. Last weekend we had a beach cleanup from the East African Ocean Festival at Jumeirah Beachfront, and all this here is from 1 hour beach cleanup. So when the truck arrived here with the waste, we are now conducting a waste audit where we would segregate the waste so that we can know the waste streams, what type of waste has actually found its way all the way to the ocean. But most important, we want to know which manufacturers, which producers are not taking responsibility of their plastic waste to ensure that it does not end up causing marine plastic pollution, affecting public health, affecting the marine ecosystem, killing the marine biodiversity, and aggravating climate change. So right now, this is what we're doing, a waste audit, and the waste that can be sent for recycling will be collected by our recyclers, Mr. Green Africa, to go for recycling into valuable products. But unfortunately, majority of the waste cannot be recycled and has to be streamlined to the landfill. And that is a very tragic scenario where all this waste would actually end up in the landfill. So we all know that a team either makes the business or breaks the business. It's very important to get a team that is aligned to the vision. Baus Taka, our team is at the heart of what we do. We have 10 permanent team members at Baus Taka Enterprise, and we have 5 who are male and 5 are women, so that is a perfect balance. And we have 5 who are from the informal sector that works at the transfer station, supporting the waste to be transferred from the local community to go into recycling centers. Yes, innovation is not just high technology. Innovation could be just empowering communities with the tools, with knowledge, and also with the right mindset to be able to come up with creative solutions to challenges in our local communities. My hope is that the lasting legacy that Baus Taka would have is we have turned the tide on marine plastic pollution while creating economic opportunities and empowering young girls, women, and youth across the coast region. I am inspired by what collaboration can achieve. I believe in a future where partnerships play an important role in empowering women and young girls in the local communities, fosters the innovation, and build resilient society, because when we come together, the possibilities are limitless. For example, one of our team members, Triza here, is through a collaboration that Baus Taka had with Pwani Techno Girls. And I remember reaching out to Ruth Kaveke, a fellow US Exchange Program alumni, and asking her that Baus Taka needs a team member to be an admin and tech support in the office. And she immediately reached out and said, we have a young girl that we have empowered. And today, it's been almost 6 months. She's been part of the Baus Taka team. And this is what the power of collaborations is all about.